Alright guys, welcome back to another video. I've not done a video in a while, but I thought I'd make another video. I'm going to start making more videos this month as well. So yeah, first video back, how to actually get subs to your OF page. So the video is going to be a bit more talking about like how to actually kind of scale, how to actually break out that barrier of being stuck in like 10 subs a day. Because I feel like a lot of people, they kind of start doing Instagram, start doing Twitter, start doing Reddit, whatever, things like that. And they kind of just get stuck around like getting a few subs a day, and they don't really know what to do next, right? There's not going to be like a complete beginner video where I talk about, oh, if you want to get subs, do Twitter, because I have videos to do with that already. So I kind of want to make a video a bit more in depth of like how you actually, kind of stand now and do better marketing. Okay, so I guess key things to remember is kind of what I want to talk about each topic. So number one is niches. So with every single platform, obviously each like there's not really niches that work way better. Like obviously there's niches that can do better, but with every platform you kind of want to pick a niche that you want to go with for your model and scale it from there, right? Obviously what you can do with things like Reddit, even Instagram, stuff like that, is you can make multiple accounts, of course, and you can have different accounts to do with different niches. Like I've made videos about this in the past. Like for example with Reddit, you can, have one account to do with just things like boobs, one to do with ass, one to do with like more in-depth things, like more specific niches, right? So kind of doing stuff like that will help you a lot. But even with things like IG, you can have one account where it's like feet content, another one for something else to do with her body or to do with her looks or to do with her personality. And that's kind of how you can kind of just see what works and decide what you need to scale on, right? So that's one thing, is whether you have a new model, whether you're trying to scale a model you already have. If you really want to bring high quality subscribers that are interested in the model, picking a good niche for her is very important. Like sometimes, for example with IG, it can be better. Views don't always equal money. I was actually speaking to someone else the other day. Like views don't always equal money, right? Just because you got 1 million views doesn't mean you're gonna get a ton of subscribers, or even if you do get a decent amount of subscribers, doesn't mean they're all gonna pay a lot of money. Sometimes it's better to be posting reels in a specific niche and get less views but bring more high quality subscribers. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Next thing is don't overcomplicate things. Sorry. So by this, I mean it's pretty basic. I feel like a lot of people just kind of overcomplicate things. Really, like whether it's with Reddit, whether it's with Twitter, they don't really just use their brain and think, okay, this is working, let me scale it and just go from there. Because I feel like a lot of people, they'll start, for example, something like Reddit, but they'll only do like one account. They'll get a few subs a day and they'll think, okay, this is good, but what do I do now? And they'll have no clue what to do. When realistically, just buy more accounts, test out more niches, keep doing what you're doing with that one account, with different niches of course, and just keep testing, keep scaling. Simple as that. A lot of people just kind of overcomplicate that part of the process where you actually start making big money, is they don't really get past that. Consistency, once again, I think this is a very kind of basic one or obvious one. But if you do want to get consistent traffic, obviously you have to be consistent, right? You can't post on Reddit today and not post it for the next 3 days. That's not how it works. If you want to make money every single day, if you want your model to reach 10k a month, 50k a month, 100k a month, whatever it may be, that your goal is, you gotta be as consistent as possible. I see a lot of people, even with like 50k a month models, and sometimes at that point when they're making that much money, they kind of slow down because they're thinking, oh, she's on 50k a month, so it's fine. And of course, if you're happy with 50k a month, if she's happy with it, it's your choice. But if you want to scale, you're probably watching this video, so if you have a model and something like that, there's no reason not to work harder than before, right? Like a lot of people, especially with like things like IG, I've seen some people do this where, they'll go viral multiple times, and then because their models reached a certain number, they won't ask for as much content, or the model will slow down, or they just won't post as much because they're thinking, well, should we be making money? When in reality, like I said, if you want to keep going, you have to be more and more consistent. And quality of content. So this is another thing, is one of the most important things really. Like if your model's content is not high quality, it's just simply not going to do well. Especially with things like IG, Reddit, Twitter, you can sort of get away with not having the highest quality of content. Obviously, don't get me wrong, you have to have good quality either way, no matter what platform. But with Twitter, if you're posting good content, as in like full nude, for example, but I don't know, the image is just not super best quality, like not good background or not good lighting, you can still do decent. But with things like Reddit and IG Reels, the quality of the entire piece of content is very important. You know, you're not going to go viral if you're recording on like an iPhone X and there's really dark lighting in it. I don't know, the background's messy, she's not dressed well or anything like that. You know, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Is like if you do want to go viral, you know, things like Reddit is also very important when it comes to the content. You got to make sure the content is actually very good. It stands out. You know, you want to do things that also stand out. Obviously, you know, one thing that's been going viral a lot is just whenever girls use AI to like increase their boobs and stuff like that, size, you know, stuff like that. It goes viral just because it stands out, right? So if you can make content that actually stands out in some ways, even if it seems weird or even if it's like it seems like it's a very specific or too small niche, you know, you could literally make content where, I don't know, she puts cake on her body, and because it's different, it will actually do well. If the content is if the piece of content is still good, it will do well still, right? So that's just kind of one thing. Quality of marketing. So once again, it kind of comes down to obviously content. Like your marketing can't be good if your content is not good. But you know, with marketing, quality of marketing, it's kind of everything put together, right? Like obviously having a good niche, picking the good niches. But like as for the marketing, you know, for things like Twitter, things like Reddit and IG, obviously other platforms too, but like those three are the main ones that I like to talk about. If you're not putting effort into it and not putting a quality effort into it, it's just not going to do well. Like for example with Twitter, if you're using bad captions, if your whole page looks bad, if you know you're not trying to get a higher conversion rate, you know, anything like that, then you can't expect anything to actually work. Even if you get 10k likes on a tweet, if your entire page, like I said, looks bad, if the content isn't very interesting, if the caption isn't interesting, if there's nothing for them to engage with the post with, that's bad quality, right? Like it's not gonna convert as good as it could. Like I said with IG, views don't always equal money. Even that same thing goes for like Twitter. Just because you get 10k likes doesn't mean you're gonna get thousands of subs. You might literally get 10. So yeah. Strategies. So this is one thing that we've been kind of trying to focus on doing recently within my agency, and with this, it's just sort of basic. Like the best way to explain it is looking into doing more strategies on platforms, right? Because what I used to do is I'd literally just do Twitter and do Reddit. I'd make posts. I'd do retweet groups, for example. I'd do the commenting strategy. With Reddit, I would just post, or I'd get my team to post, and that's pretty much it. But now what we're kind of trying to scale a lot more on is doing strategies within those platforms, like more strategies. So like, you know, with Twitter, like paid promos on meme pages, stuff like that. Or like even like mass DM, or like an AI DM reply bot or chatting bot. You know, because obviously there's a lot of a lot of message requests on Twitter. A lot of people, they might not even see the OF link, or they might want to speak to you first. Obviously, overall, I do think it's best not to speak to fans unless it's on the OF platform. But if you're using a chit chat bot that is literally made to convert them to the OF page, you might as well. So we've been doing that recently, and it's helping a lot. Same with Reddit, you know, we've been using like a chat bot. Same with IG, we've been using a chat bot. Just kind of try to do more strategies on the platforms where you already have traffic, right? Like, for example, with Instagram, another one is the private story method, which I'm sure some of you have seen goat models doing. You might have even seen like influencers do it. A lot of influencers are starting to do it now as well. It's where you use like a tool or something to add all your followers into a private story, right? And what this does is obviously it makes it green, so it stands out. You know, it's like everyone's story will be red, but your story will be green, so it already stand out a little bit. But then it also pushes out your story to like the first few stories on their feed, so it increases the story views by a lot. Like if you're getting like 500 with this method, you'd be getting probably like 1.5k. It increases it by a massive amount. So just small strategies like that will increase your conversion rate, and it helps a lot to kind of look into how can you actually use like your platform that you've already grown to gain more subs. Because for example, a lot of models out there have like 50k followers on IG that are active, all US or UK, like actually high quality audience, but they'll only have like a few hundred subs on their OF page. And so they're obviously missing out on a lot of money by not utilizing more strategies on IG, for example, right? So that's another thing. Now scaling what works. I kind of mentioned this a little somewhere earlier, but another thing that is very important to do is just scaling or doubling down whatever on what actually is working. Obviously, the next part I'll talk about kind of doesn't like add up to what I'm saying now, but first of all, before you want to move on to, like, let's say you're doing Twitter and Reddit, which is what I always recommend everyone to start with whenever they have like a new model or whatever. If you start with those two, just because you have one account on Twitter, one account on Reddit, and maybe you're making a few $100s, doesn't mean you should move on to like 3 new different traffic sources instantly. What I'd recommend to do instead is scaling what works, right? So if Twitter is bringing you, I don't know, 80% of those subs and Reddit's only doing 20, you should just scale with Twitter, right? If Reddit is also working well, like if they're both working well, scale them both. Keep testing on Reddit, different subreddits, all that stuff, what will work, and just keep scaling from there and there. And then once you have a good team, it's outsourced. Then I'd say that's when you should move on to other things. And I think I mentioned this earlier in this video, literally at the start. I think around the start, but this is the main part where people get stuck. They don't scale. Like a lot of people say that they're gonna scale, they're gonna get more accounts, but then they'll only get like one more account, right? Like for example, with my agency, we're trying to aim for like over 20 accounts per model on Reddit. For Twitter, we're currently doing like 5 to 10, but we also do want to increase that, but there's no point of stopping it. Like if something works, if you scale it, it's literally, in a way, it's guaranteed it will just bring more money or more subs. Because if you have one Reddit account and it's bringing you money or bringing you subscribers, why would you think 5 accounts wouldn't, right? So even if you were to do 20 accounts, why would you think, a lot of people get worried. They think, oh, well, if it's not worth it, I don't have the budget to do it. But if you're making money from, let's say, 5 accounts, you're probably making a few $100s. That's enough to start like another 5. You might as well put that money into scaling Reddit, and then you'll end up making even more, right? Now, last part is more traffic. So this is basically what I was going to say. It's just more traffic sources. So, another thing we've been doing in my agency recently is we've been looking into a lot more like sort of underground traffic sources that people don't really use. Obviously in this video I'm not going to mention this because I don't want it to become like a public known thing on what I use, but we've been using a few new like websites for traffic that are not very popular, and because they're not really being rinsed for OF models yet, it's very high quality, right? There's a lot of men on these sites that are interested, and obviously they see an OF page, so some might not be interested, but a lot of them will be happy to subscribe because it's kind of like a high quality website where a lot of men might have money to spend. So yeah, that's something that we've been doing, but overall it's just kind of once you do get to a point where you do have a lot of things outsourced, you might as well look into more things like that, like more traffic sources that you can do. Obviously there's other options like that I've not really talked about in this video, like IG, day naps, porn sites, stuff like that. But overall, once you get to a point where you've outsourced a lot of your marketing in the agency and you just have to look over your team, you might as well try to find more like underground traffic sources that people don't really do, because a lot of the money can be made is like on stuff like that, like things that aren't really popular for OF models as usual. That's where like you can really make a lot of subs even for minimal effort. So yeah, hopefully you learned something new from this video. It was a pretty good video, like a 14-minute video I think. But yeah, I'm going to start doing more YouTube videos from here. I'm hoping to get like 3 a week at least. I have been quite busy with like my agency and stuff, but I'm going to try to start doing more now.